tape for Chris Byrd against Wladimir Klitschko. 5-year age advantage for Wladimir. 6 inches in height. Amazingly, they're equal in arm's length, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. Byrd weighed in at 213 and a half. He has to eat to get to that level. He finished his workouts at around 203, 204. Wladimir Klitschko looking trim and fit at 241. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
To Chris Byrd, Wladimir Klitschko fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. You go to the scorecards after 4 rounds and an accidental headbutt, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
Coming to the ring at this time, the challenger, Wladimir Klitschko!
The Germans aren't bashful about theatricality. They have set up a Prince Nassim-style ramp entrance for both fighters to come into the ring.
I doubt, however, that they will come in on any flying carpet. There isn't a flying carpet that can hold either one. Before his fight with Sam Peter, it was widely predicted that that would be the end of Klitschko, that he would be knocked out. Someone said he's a dead man walking. What he says is, and walking, and walking, and still walking.
And he says his continuing experience working with Emmanuel Stewart, greater and greater attention to detail, makes him a continually improving fighter and a far better threat to become the main man in the heavyweight division than was the case a year and a half ago. Skeptics still doubt that.
And now coming to the ring, the defending champion.
It's personally remarkable the business Klitschko has done in Germany, and successfully so, that at age 30, he's in his 49th professional fight tonight. Here comes Chris Byrd, who is considerably more lightly used at age 35.
One thing Byrd hasn't spoken about, and he is a man who will say a few words, is his old claim that Klitschko used some kind of substance on his gloves in their first fight that got into his eyes. The reason he hasn't said anything is that the old promoter of the Klitschkos took out an injunction in court that forbids him to say anything about it at the risk of a lawsuit.
A year ago, Chris Byrd didn't want this fight. But since that time, Wladimir Klitschko beat Sam Peter. Byrd got away from Don King. Now he says, this is exactly the fight I wanted. I want to avenge my loss. And now back to Michael Buffer for official introductions and national anthems in the ring.
Remain standing as we honor the countries of our challenger, champion, and referee with their respective national anthems. Ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, willkommen. Welcome to the main event of the evening. Presented by K2 Promotions and Sports 5 in association with Sauerland Event and sponsored by Aqua Society. Und jetzt, meine Damen und Herren, 12 Runden Boxweltmeisterschaft im Schwergewicht. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF, IBO Heavyweight Championship of the World. Sanctioned by the Austrian Boxing Federation, President Willy Palatin. Representing the International Boxing Federation, President Marian Mohammed. Representing the International Boxing Organization, President Ed Levine. At ringside, the three judges scoring this bout. From Connecticut, USA, Steve Epstein. From Kent, England, Roy Francis. From Nevada, USA, Robert Hoyle. And inside the ring, the man in charge of the action when the bell rings, the referee from New York, USA, Wayne Kelly. And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren aus Mannheim, Deutschland, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing burgundy with gold, official weight 109.3 kilograms or 241 pounds. After capturing Olympic gold, he now has a professional record of 45 victories, including 40 knockouts, with only 3 defeats. Originally from Kiev, Ukraine, now fighting out of Hamburg, Germany, the challenger, former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, the Steel Hammer, Dr. Wladimir Klitschko. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing navy blue with red trim, official weight 98.6 kilograms or 213.5 pounds. This Olympic silver medalist now has a professional record consisting of 39 victories, including 20 knockouts, only 2 defeats with 1 draw. Originally from Flint, Michigan, USA, now living and fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, the reigning, defending IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Chris Byrd.
All right, gentlemen, we're boxing for the IBF, IBO Heavyweight Championship of the World. I expect a clean fight. Obey my commands at all times, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, come out boxing, get the bell, good luck. 12 rounds.
Who would have thunk that Chris Byrd would have been cast in the role of defending what used to be considered by Americans an American birthright, the heavyweight title? And who would have thought that Wladimir Klitschko would still be standing in such a fight?
5.5 years ago, when they fought in Cologne, Germany, Byrd stood on the outside and got pummeled. Klitschko won every round, knocked Byrd down in the 9th and the 11th. When Byrd's father, Joe Byrd, began to ascend the steps to stop the fight in the 12th, Byrd's brother Patrick said, "Dad, don't do it. Chris just needs to finish the fight." As Larry said earlier, Byrd called it the worst night of his life, and that's why he said that he's going to go right at Klitschko from the beginning, try to get into his chest, and fight him from close range and make him work. He believes that's his best chance to win the fight.
And he also believes as the smaller man he will work better inside, and that's why you see him standing, looking for a way to get in, as you just saw him throw a body punch.
Jumped in, got a left hand to the body. Vladimir Klitschko hasn't yet landed the big jab that set up his victory over Sam Peter. And there it is. And there it is again.
Byrd holding his hands very high. Klitschko does not throw a lot of body punches.
Byrd with his second shot to Klitschko's belly. So far, it's a battle of Klitschko upstairs and Byrd downstairs. And after the initial bull rush that got him inside, Byrd has gotten back into a more tactical mode, trying to find his way inside with jabs and body punches. But from this range, even Byrd would tell you Klitschko is the likely winner of the fight.
Yeah. In this range, Klitschko outboxed, outpunched, out everything Byrd in their first fight.
And to this day, Byrd says, I'm really not sure why it happened that way. I don't understand why everything he threw hit me. I couldn't get out of the way of anything.
At his core, Byrd thinks he is simply tougher than Klitschko. And that's why he thinks he can get away with coming to him.
At our core, most Americans probably feel that Americans are tougher than people from the former Soviet republics. I'm sure over there, they would say the opposite. Another jab for Klitschko. Byrd firing the jab twice, but missing short. Round has offered nothing much in the way of encouragement to Byrd so far. Cold comfort at best. 2 or 3 body shots. Klitschko has been able, when he throws it, to land his jab upstairs. Byrd misses twice, and again, not close enough. Round 1 is round 13 of the fight they fought 5.5 years ago.
And a look of exasperation on Byrd's face.
Let that head be moving. You got to move it now. You can't stand there being on time. Yes, that's a spit block. Give me the water. Mouth dry. Give me the spray bottle out there. You got to move the head. You wait for time. Move the head. Don't get no target to shoot at. Give him a water. He's having water. He's having a lot of something he cannot see. He's watching how to get by.
Klitschko is clearly the most talented of all of the giants in the division, and there you see the evidence of it, that quick, punishing jab.
Klitschko's favored in the fight, partially because the world sees Chris Byrd as a non-puncher. Byrd says, I'm different now. I've worked on my strength. I can prove I can step inside and be a bigger hitter. But conventional wisdom is, if there's a star heavyweight who doesn't have the power to knock out Wladimir Klitschko, this is the guy, Chris Byrd. That's more incentive for Byrd to do the unexpected, which, of course, is the fuel his whole life has been built upon.
Changing the habits of a lifetime.
Now there's the first Wladimir Klitschko left hook. He hooks off the jab better than any other man in the division.
It's very difficult, and Byrd is trying it so far. He hasn't been able to make it work.
The 2 times Byrd has gotten into Klitschko's chest, Wladimir has reached out with the left arm and pulled him in close, creating the clinch and stopping the action. Emanuel Stewart's unabashed and saying, we're not going to fight inside. When he gets in there, Wladimir will tie him up or throw him away, just as you saw Lennox Lewis do to Mike Tyson in Memphis, June 8, 2002. Hard right hand by Klitschko. Bothered Byrd.
The first right hand he threw. Byrd took it well.
Since Byrd's in a southpaw stance, you would think that Klitschko could throw right hands a little bit more liberally than is normally the case. But he tends sometimes to be conservative in the first couple of rounds, particularly after having run out of gas the way he did against Lehman Brewster.
Byrd told us he was itching to get hit in this fight as he tried to get inside. Right now, Klitschko is scratching that itch for him.
Another right hand. Byrd sticks out his tongue and starts talking to Klitschko. Reaches with the left hand to the body. Doesn't quite get it there. The get inside and challenge you strategy isn't working for Byrd, who's being kept at bay by Klitschko's long left arm, and Byrd is thinking of complaining to referee Wayne Kelly about it. Right hand, left hand on the shoulder to stabilize Byrd. Byrd yells into his corner. This Byrd is nothing if not intense. Another right hand lands for Wladimir Klitschko. He's landed 3 in this round. And 4. And a little left hook to follow. And Byrd is having trouble getting out of the way of Klitschko's right hand. Now Byrd turns and talks to us.
He says he's going to walk him down. He's walking him down, but he's also walking right into straight punches.
And into tactical clinches that stop the action when he gets there. And here's a look at Tracy Byrd. He moves toward the corner, perhaps to offer some advice.
You're down too low. Okay, he's jabbing and grabbing. Work on the inside.
That's his spit bucket. No, give me the ball. You can't touch it, Chris. Don't let him touch it.
Two ovations. Keep it. You never got out of position. Do what you're doing. You start to land more. Eventually, he's going to start. Something's going to bust up. But don't let him get you where you start to moving too much. Okay? You keep it so you. And that's what he's trying to make you get into a move.
The way Byrd has been able to extend his career the way he has is that when occasionally he gets hit by those big punches, he can take them. He is hoping by making this an active fight that is the way to make Klitschko's stamina enter into the picture.
Byrd gets in a body shot and starts ramming Klitschko in the ribcage with body shots. Wayne Kelly for the first time mentions something to Klitschko about holding. Byrd is clearly exasperated by that. Klitschko jab, jab, landing on Byrd. Byrd's jab just short. Now Klitschko fends him off with the left hand. Hooking a little bit off the jab. He sticks the jab again. Klitschko now more active than Byrd, who's looking for chances to throw, but is on the defensive much of the time. Byrd reaches with a body shot. Klitschko still pawing upstairs. Good left hand to the body by Byrd.
It's now becoming even more clear that what Byrd wants is to stay active, go to the body, and hope that in the second half of the fight that he can start to take control.
Byrd whacking the Klitschko ribcage now. Whenever Klitschko pulls him in close with that big left arm. Byrd trying to get rambunctious in there to break the clinches and make Klitschko fight. Talked about it all day yesterday. I'm going to make him fight. Little chopping left hook for Klitschko. Again, they grapple with each other inside. Wayne Kelly has not yet specifically warned Wladimir not to hold, although Chris Byrd is asking him to.
And he is now speaking to Klitschko.
A better antidote than holding even may be to simply keep firing the right hand. He hits Byrd flush with it again, and again, and again. Brings the crowd out of their seats. Byrd talking to Klitschko as if to say, you can't hurt me with the right hand, but the punches are landing and they're scoring.
In Byrd's mind, I believe, Jim, he's trying to egg Klitschko on, trying to make him more active than is good for Klitschko.
And this time, Klitschko, instead of clinching Byrd, simply pushes him away. Byrd comes back with the lead left hand, but again, the round belonged, or so it seemed, to Wladimir Klitschko in his right hand, and Chris Byrd's right eye is beginning to swell. Immediately after tonight's telecast, stay tuned for Countdown to De La Hoya Mayorga, a documentary-style behind-the-scenes look at the two men facing off next month. Then on May 6th, live on HBO pay-per-view, Ricardo Mayorga versus Oscar De La Hoya, a dramatic and dangerous fight for both competitors.
Okay, now you getting hit with shots you shouldn't get hit with.
No. Stupid stuff.
Stupid stuff. You really saying the stupid stuff. Keep the move with your head and don't hang out there. Don't hang out there now.
Swallow this one here. Give it a water.
I'm gonna do it.
Very good fight. Perfect. And every time you get it close, keep pushing him back.
Get moved up here.
Okay.
Round 4 begins. Harold Letterman, how do you have it so far?
28, 2 rounds to 1, Wladimir Klitschko. Jim, I got to tell you something. Vladimir's getting through in rounds 2 and 3. I didn't think he did a heck of a lot in round 1. I thought Chris's body shots were the more, damaging shots. But be as it may, rounds 2 and 3 he got through. But Wayne Kelly, I've counted the times he's warned Wladimir. 4 times already for holding. Now, I don't know how many holds Wayne Kelly's going to put up with, but he's warned them 4 times already. 2-1, Klitschko.
I haven't seen Byrd win a round yet.
Does that mean you would have given Wladimir the first, Larry?
Yes.
Sometimes you score the first even when you see it mostly tactical. There's a good jab by Wladimir Klitschko. Question is going to be, how long is Chris Byrd's right eye going to hold up, as the swelling at the end of round 3 seemed fairly precipitous. Good jab and a hard right hand by Klitschko. Byrd shaking his head, but shaking your head does not stop the punches from scoring. Another smirk from Byrd. That means another landed punch for Wladimir. This time Klitschko went over the top instead of clinching. And again, he thrashes Chris Byrd with the right hand. Klitschko clearly is getting more and more confident in his right hand. With each passing round, he has thrown it more.
Step back.
Byrd has not been able to throw a straight left down the pipe and land it on Klitschko's chin. Another hard right hand by Wladimir Klitschko. He delivers quickly for a big man. And another one, the lead right hand that shocked Byrd.
That time Byrd was holding it a little bit.
I started to think it would be awfully ironic if in a few rounds we find Chris Byrd holding more than Wladimir does.
You know, I don't see anything wrong with the holding that Klitschko does. It's quick, it's tactical. John Ruiz, we found holding 15 and 16 times around and holding for as long as he could. I haven't seen anything that I thought was untoward. I don't even know why he has been warned. Clinching, to a certain degree, is a part of boxing.
And a frustrated Chris Byrd shakes his head ruefully as he comes back to the corner after round 4. Incidentally, we are not in control of the engineering of this telecast. If you are not hearing the normal, clear, full-throated corner audio we expect to bring you on HBO, all I can say is we're working on it, and we hope to get it to you.
So let's get off with it, okay? You're not getting off with it. You have to turn it on. Double left hand. Go one to shoulder to the body. Go right back to the head with a holler, okay? Yeah. And move it around. They beat me to the punch, I know. They beat you.
Your conditioning is great. Right, single rights is getting away good. But sooner or later, you're going to, when you come in, you move off to the side. Just like we did with St. Peter, we let it get away. Because he's getting a little sloppy when he gets off balance. When he's coming up here, okay, you step it over to the side. Let the right
There's a
hand
look
go.
at Vitaly Klitschko, who I think could join us in offering a happy birthday today to our good friend Jack Nicholson, massive boxing fan, watching at home back in Beverly Hills, and celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Jack.
Having lost the mayoralty election in Kyiv recently, a lot of people have wondered whether Vitaly Klitschko was going to come back. He told me the knee he had operated on still bothers him. He still has in the back of his mind that he would want to fight, but in the front of his mind it says you shouldn't. In other words, he hasn't made up his mind.
Now there's some inside speculation in the sport that Vitaly and Lennox Lewis may actually mount a discussion about getting together, but wise skeptics say it's probably not going to happen. Right hand by Klitschko, down goes Byrd. He's got a good chin, but there have been a lot of big right hand shots. And a wobbly Chris Byrd bleeds from the nose. First knockdown in this fight, Wladimir knocked him down twice 5.5 years ago. A grinning Byrd is ready for another assault. Klitschko thinks he might be able to finish it. A knockout of Chris Byrd would be a huge credential for Klitschko. Byrd's in big trouble. Got hit with a massive left hook. Another left hook. He's open to the right hand. Wladimir didn't find him. Another right hand. A left hook. Byrd hasn't fired back yet.
Byrd is trying to pull a Brewster, his cousin, Lamont Brewster, who took tremendous punishment, came back to win the fight. He's standing in there and taking awful punishment. Terrible barrage.
But Wladimir is not selling out the way he did against Brewster. More measured in his attack. Byrd badly wobbled, having trouble taking the right hand shots. Now Wladimir may take a breather as Byrd begins to recover a little bit with less than a minute to go in the round. Klitschko would do well to consider whether to punch himself out or hold back a little bit. The macho Byrd, come on, hit me again. Klitschko says, okay, drop your hands and I'll do it. Bang, right hand, bang, left hook. Huge round for Wladimir Klitschko. Probably the worst round of Chris Byrd's entire career. The sole exception of the round in which Ike Bayabuchi knocked him out in Tacoma, Washington back in 1999. Straight right hand, partially blocked this time. But that one landed flush. And Byrd makes it out of a terrible round.
That could be scored a 3-point round, even though there was only one knockdown. So dominant was Klitschko.
I got to keep a good eye on him. He gets taking more punches. I have to stop. I know you're fine, but you're getting hit with a lot of punches.
You hit me clean.
You're getting hit with a lot of punches, all right?
Yeah, I
Hey, Chris, you gotta fight smart.
Let me how it is. You have to fight not to boo. Boo your head. I told you what you hit. Why you hit me? Why he hit you? What you hit me with? Right hand? A right hand. You had it in front of him.
Byrd said he couldn't wait to get hit in this fight to show how tough he is. He got hit there and then did show how tough he is. But at what price?
Just a perfect shot. Byrd leaned in, and Klitschko found his chin.
Seconds out!
This is later in the round, as Byrd was weathering the storm. Round 6 begins, and Wladimir Klitschko more or less jumped across the ring to get at Chris Byrd again. Klitschko now with a 4-point lead on Harold Letterman's scorecard. Some judges probably gave Wladimir the first round, which would make the lead 6. Another right hand lands. Left jab lands. Chris Byrd hasn't been able to get out of the way of much of anything. Just as was the case 5.5 years ago.
There are 2 reasons Byrd is fighting in this style. One, of course, is what happened in the first fight. The other, Byrd says he got bored by just fighting and winning rounds. That joined him to a lot of people, but is this style to his advantage?
Well, it might be against some smaller fighters. It might be against someone who's not as quick as Wladimir Klitschko. But Wladimir delivers fast, and Byrd is getting hit over and over. And I'm not sure who Chris is going to listen to. His father's right in front of him in the corner, but his wife Tracy is now yelling constantly at him from just outside the ring.
He's got a very brave family, I'll say that.
They're telling him to get in there. They're telling him to move his head. They're not the ones who are standing within range of the steel hammer, who's having a hot night. Byrd lands a right hand, his first successful punch in a while. The word in Byrd's corner continues to be, walk him down, walk him down. It was the plan, but it puts Byrd in harm's way. The make him fight thing sounds a little hollow right now. Klitschko's fighting fine.
Emanuel Stewart widely received credit for Klitschko's victory over St. Peter. He is the architect of this as well. Left hand, left hand, left hand, another left hand, and an occasional right.
8 years ago, it was very hard to land power punches on Chris Byrd. He could duck or slip just about anything. Over the years, he's gotten slightly bigger, stronger, more sedentary, and he gets hit much more easily now. It makes it difficult for a 210-pound man to function in a 240-pound world. It's a hot night in this arena. Byrd is going to have to hope that he can sustain his energy longer than Klitschko can.
You yourself out. You got to just do what you're doing systematically. Keep breaking him down. The jab is working greater for this. It's a great fight. Great fight. Your left hand is just keep working the left hand. Just a matter of time. Yeah, he cannot go no 6 more rounds under this show.
The Klitschko corner has become an institutionally imposing place, with former heavyweight titleist Vitaly Klitschko and super trainer Emanuel Stewart both there.
Yeah. If you ain't gonna do nothing, he just gonna punch you to death right there. Yeah. If you ain't gonna
fight intelligent. Don't get too carried away and run out of gas. Keep fighting intelligent, okay?
Second down.
Round 7 begins. Harold, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim. 59-54. 5 rounds to 1. Wladimir Klitschko. You got to give Wladimir an extra point. I only gave him 1 extra point in round 5, which he won very, very big. Larry, I gotta tell you something about holding. If you get punched in the mouth, okay, you can grab to stay on your feet. But when you're winning like Wladimir...
Harold, this point is so moot at this point. I have to interrupt you. It's nonsense, Harold. There's another knockdown for Byrd as Klitschko is completely dominating it. And that's the end of the fight as Wayne Kelly's seen enough as Byrd's face is a bloody mask. Holding was not an issue.
Wladimir Klitschko may no longer be the next big thing, but he is still a big thing in the heavyweight mix.
And tonight he destroyed Chris Byrd to earn a heavyweight title belt and put himself into the mix, along with 2 other products of former Soviet republics, as the heavyweight division increasingly tilts toward Eastern Europe. And who's the best fighter in Eastern Europe right now?
Wladimir Klitschko.
No question about it.
That was a consummate performance by Klitschko. True, it was not against a fighter who can punch hard enough to bother him.
But it was against a fighter who has been defensively skilled and has taken punches well in the past. And with that last right hand, Klitschko simply busted Byrd's face up to the point where referee Wayne Kelly would not let him continue. He looked at the blood and he said, too much.
If Byrd was hoping to wear Klitschko out with his face and his head by taking all those blows, that is not a good strategy.
Every fighter finds someone whose style he cannot contend with. In 19 rounds against Wladimir Klitschko, Chris Byrd barely scratched in the box score. He's never had that kind of difficulty against anybody else.
This, then, is another worst night of Chris Byrd's career.
And Wladimir Klitschko moves his record to 46 wins, 3 losses, as he continues the long quest to stamp himself as the heavyweight champion of the world. He's closer right now than he's ever been before. And Chris Byrd may have seen his best days.
It's going to be very difficult for him to get fights because he is not a box office attraction and because his style isn't a crowd-pleasing style, even when he tried to make it a crowd-pleasing style.
And because he wasn't beaten in this fight, he was destroyed. Let's go to Michael Buffer now for the official particulars on the Klitschko knockout of Byrd.
End comes at 41 seconds of round number 7. The winner by knockout victory, and now the 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, the Steel Hammer, Dr. Wladimir Klitschko.
There's tremendous excitement in this giant sold-out arena in Mannheim as 20,000 plus celebrate the victory of Wladimir Klitschko, who of course hails from Ukraine but has fought much of his professional boxing career here in Germany. This was a 2-man broadcast tonight because the 3rd member of our normal World Championship boxing team was in the ring training his latest heavyweight titleist. Emmanuel Stewart has, quite simply, the greatest record for a trainer in the history of the sport in heavyweight championship fights. I believe you're now 19-1, 20-1, something like that. A fabulous performance by Wladimir. Larry, take it away.
Emmanuel, you saw how easily he handled Byrd in their first fight. What were your concerns coming into this fight, and how did you plan to deal with him this time?
Well, I know that Byrd was intended to try to be a little more aggressive in the beginning. And the trick was to keep his left-handed in a kind of extended position instead of bringing it back. And therefore, Byrd spent most of the fight trying to get out of the way of the left extended arm, and that's why he never saw the right hands, because he was trying to get out of the way of the extended left hand.
Did you think that in the last fight, the Sam Peter fight, as I've commented, people thought you dragged Wladimir across the finish line? Well, was it more Wladimir tonight? Because it looked that way.
Yeah, Vladimir's coming to his own now. You got to remember, his last 2 fights have been against undefeated fighters. He fought the still undefeated. He fought Sam Peters, who was undefeated. And tonight he fought the fighter that people consider as the best heavyweight champion. So people are going to have to start giving him credit. He is the best heavyweight out there.
Who do you think he should fight next?
Well, Wladimir told me clearly he wants to unify the titles. You know, he's been fighting. This is our 49th fight. He wants to unify the titles. I would like to see him fight a Rockman situation or one of the other champions. But because of politics, it may not happen. But he really wants to fight another champion. If not, there's been talk about him fight maybe Calvin Brock if Calvin Brock wins his next fight.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time in a tuxedo, Emmanuel.
Can I add one question? I got a question for you, Emmanuel. You saw those years of dominance with Lennox Lewis. You were the architect of that. The division is now constructed. Wladimir at age 30. Could he become the dominant champion that Lennox was?
When I got involved with Lennox, I think he was 30 or 29. I think that Wladimir definitely has established himself as the premier heavyweight, and I don't see nothing on the horizon coming up, even in the amateurs, that's going to beat him. I think he can hold on to the title until he retires.
What about the chin?
I have no problem with his chin. I know the whole story behind both losses. He didn't go through over 100 and something amateur fights, gold medals, and all those fights without having a chin. I have no problem with his chin at all.
Manny, thanks very much.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Larry, here we are again. We asked for clarity in the heavyweight division. Did we get it?
It's a little hard to say simply because Chris Byrd is not a puncher. And the question will linger about Vladimir's ability to take punishment until he gets in there with a puncher. But having said that we still are so caught up in searching for this mythical Muhammad Dempsey, I think that what we're seeing is that even if you think they have failed to find that guy, they're failing better. We're getting better heavyweight fights. We ought to concentrate on the picture in front of us. We had a good fight, I thought, when Rockman beat Tony, the best heavyweight fight in years, when Brewster fought Blachowicz. This was a dominant performance. Let's look at the fights. Everything will take care of itself in good time. We're seeing good heavyweight fights, and that's the most hopeful thing for the division.
All right, now, while German television interviews Wladimir Klitschko in the ring, let's take a look at some highlights of what happened here in the fight. Round one, a relatively tactical round. Harold Lederman actually gave the round to Chris Byrd because of a couple of body shots, but Wladimir Klitschko had the jab going. Round two, Klitschko began to throw the right hand and landed 3 big ones in that round. By round 5, Wladimir was starting to bust Byrd up. And in the 5th round, which may have been one of the 2 worst rounds of Byrd's career, Wladimir knocked him from pillar to post and knocked him down. Then in the 7th round, boom. A brilliant right-hand shot that busted up the middle of Byrd's face and prompted referee Wayne Kelly on one look to say, you're not going any further with all that blood. Larry, Chris Byrd didn't have to take this fight. He had other options. In retrospect, it looks like a colossal miscalculation.
Let's agree to disagree. The reason Chris Byrd took this fight is because Wladimir Klitschko is the only attraction in boxing. He generates the biggest bucks through European and German television especially. That's why you always hear the other heavyweights saying they want to fight Wladimir Klitschko. Not the chin, the wallet. That's why he took this fight. He did, in fact, make his biggest payday tonight. He put it on the line. We're happy to see him walk away with a couple $1 million.
So maybe his next fight will be where he lives, in Las Vegas, Nevada. And he joins us now at ringside. Wladimir, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How is this fight different for you than the first fight with Byrd?
It is different. I think that Chris Byrd is much stronger today than 5 years ago, over 5 years. And compliments to Chris Byrd, he showed a lot of heart. He has a really big heart. I feel it in the last fight, and especially in this fight. I think it was very difficult to him to box with me, but he did it. Respect.
According to Emmanuel Stewart, you were expecting him to be more aggressive, and yet you came out after him to show him that he could not be more aggressive than you?
Of course, he was trying to be aggressive, and it was kind of game between us. He also called me in the ring and said, come on, do this and that. I mean, some provocations, but it was part of his strategy. And but I knew it, and I have to keep focusing.
Do you think the strategy was, as I thought it was, that he was trying to have a fight with you like his cousin Lamont Brewster and make you work so hard that you would get tired?
I think so. I heard also in the corner that he has no heart. Come on, do it, go forward, and so on. It's just kind of, I was going through a lot of bumps in my sports career in the past. I was successful, but I lost also some fights. And I think it makes me maybe wiser with 30 years to know two opposites, to be really successful and to have some failures. But failure is not an option.
Do you feel that the criticism, which I think a lot of it was justified, questioning whether you had the toughness or the chin, has motivated you to this level?
It's not about the chin. I can tell you one thing. If a guy who has a weight over 200 pounds and he's going to stay right there and he's going to hit you, so it's not a question of the chin. It's a question of situation and so on and so on. I want to tell you I don't want to prove my chin. Before I will go prove my chin, I will better knock my opponent out.
Larry, I have one question. Excuse me, Larry, and thank you. You said to us yesterday, I had too much success too young. You lost your upward arc. Are you confident now that you're going to sustain this upward arc through the rest of your career?
Believe it or not, I never lost my confidence, even if outside was a lot of questions about my mentality and so on. I want to appreciate my team, I want to appreciate my brother for his support all the time. And, the Klitschko brothers made it again. Doesn't matter, one of us is success for both of us.
What would you like to do next?
Of course, defend my title, and much better to get another one. So I have two. Let's go for some other belts.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on an outstanding performance, Vladimir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vladimir. So once again, Wladimir Klitschko goes to 46-3, takes a heavyweight belt for the second time in his career. This time it comes from one of the three more mainstream organizations rather than from organization number 4, which was the belt that he had before. Another small incremental step toward legitimacy as the heavyweight champion. Another big step toward public acceptance because he beat up a respected American heavyweight.
Jim, when 3 of the 4 belts are owned by Eastern Europeans, I think it's going to get Americans' attention. There was a widespread belief that you had to come from suffering and deprivation in your life to be a true champion, to have that kind of toughness. They're showing that they have whatever it takes.
Well, there's plenty of suffering and deprivation in Eastern Europe. Poverty is producing fighters here, just as was the case for a long, long time in the United States. It's extremely crowded at ringside. People want to walk in front of us. We're having difficulty holding the line. And now the very graceful Chris Byrd has agreed to join us at ringside. And Chris, it's great to have you. Stand right over there with Larry. Larry, take it away.
Okay, Chris. You went to Plan B tonight after what happened in the first fight.
Yeah.
It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was very tough. I mean, I take nothing away from Wladimir Klitschko. He's a big, strong guy. I can be very honest. I mean, I was never in the fight. I mean, he fought a great fight. I got hit with all kind of punches. It wasn't a fight we trained for in sparring. Everything went great. But when you get out there and start getting hit and certain things don't work for you, I thank the Lord that I had a chance to have a rematch with Wladimir Klitschko, and he's such a big, strong, and good boxer. I take nothing away from him.
There's a general impression, of course, that he had showed a lack of toughness, and you felt, I believe, that you're just tougher than he was, and that's what was going to win it in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was knuckleheaded of me to think that I was bigger and stronger than Wladimir Klitschko. He's 241 pounds of muscle, and I'm 212 pounds of bulked up muscle, not even for real muscle. So I thought I was going to go in there and push him around. I really thought so, and it didn't work out for me. I mean, it was a hard showing, getting hit with all kind of punches. I mean, stuff I didn't train for in sparring. I mean, I was pretty sharp in sparring, pretty aggressive, but Wladimir Klitschko is a big, strong guy. He's talented.
All right. Hasim Rahman lives in Las Vegas the way you did, the way you do. What would you tell him going into a fight with this Wladimir Klitschko?
I would tell Hasim Rahman, who's a big, strong guy, keep them hands up and press him forward, but you got to move the head. I mean, I wasn't moving my head. He got to give him angles because Wladimir Klitschko is so tall. He's shooting down and he's taking a half step back, and he's getting his punches off. And it's just hard to fight, and hard for me to fight him.
What does this do for you as far as your career is concerned, or do against you? Have you given it any thought coming into tonight? What happens if I lose?
I haven't given it much thought. I go home, talk to my wife, talk to my dad and mom and everybody, and just pray about it and see what comes out of it. You know, I'm disappointed for sure, but you know, I still got a lot of boxing in me, I think, and my wife and my father and everybody, my sisters and my brother would tell me, you need to quit or you can keep fighting, so we'll see.
Did you find it amazing that after you absorbed so much punishment, that the family at ringside, instead of covering their eyes, were still rooting you on?
Yeah, I mean, we're a tough family. I mean, for real. You know, we always believe in coming back. We train so hard for it. I mean, as a family, we all know, you know, I can come back from, you know, certain things, and I'm just getting pounded and thinking, you know, we always believe in miracles that come back, and, you know, they still root me on. We're just a tough family like that. And, you know, like I said, I thank the Lord that I'm even in this position to fight a big man like Wladimir Klitschko, and I take nothing away from him. He is a big, strong guy.
Thank you. See you again down the road in Las Vegas.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Class and audacity. You think Chris is audacious? His daddy Joe was a 5'7" heavyweight.